Hi everybody, I'm Seth Henshaw. I'm the author of the book A Field Guide to American Residential Doors, which you can buy from the website olddoors.info. I'm an architectural historian and I've documented hundreds of houses, mainly in the mid-Atlantic states. And I don't have opportunities to share things that I've discovered or connections that I've made. So I wanted to start this series of YouTube videos sort of as an extension of my blog at olddoors.info so that I can give you information so you can appreciate certain parts of historic houses when you see them. Some of this will be doors or hardware for doors or other things. But the topic for today is wooden doorknobs, and I have some here I'm going to talk about. This short video has three parts to it. First of all, I'm going to give you information about what it means to be pressed wood, which is what these doorknobs are. Then I'm going to walk you through the process of the creation of this type of knob. Then we're going to talk about the three most common pressed wood knobs in the United States. The process of pressing wood into a shape began in England in the 1830s. What they did there was they would put a piece of wood into a machine that had a molded shape on one side that was called the pressing plate that they would use to create an impression in the wood to be used mainly for ornamentation of interior elements. This was not very common in the United States until after the Civil War. In 1865, Henry May of Bridgeport, Connecticut, invented or patented a process for what he called embossed wood. His process involved cutting off the end of a log and then drying it out completely, and he would put it into his press and then hold it under pressure, and the pressing plate would only be held there for a few seconds and then taken off. And as a result of that, he would have a piece of what he called embossed wood. These features that he made weren't of the highest quality, though. And in 1869, a man named William Kopp of Louisville, Kentucky, invented a new process which he called pressed wood. His patent was very specific about his process of pressing wood. He soaked his wood overnight, and then he would rub wax over it before he made the impression. And the reason for that is as the fibers of the wood are compressed down, the wax would fill in holes in between the fibers and also stop the piece of pressed wood from sticking to the pressing plate. Also, what this meant was his process of pressing wood gave you a sharper image in the wood, a sharper impression that would last longer. And very soon after that, pressed wood products started to appear. One of the first ones that I've been able to find is this one from the Metal Worker in 1876. It was on page 1, and as you can see at the top, there's a pressed wood doorknob. It's quite ornate. It's far more ornate than the knobs that I have today, and this kind is pretty rare. The one that I just showed you. Before I get into the three examples, I just wanted to mention a few things. These pressed wood knobs were mostly made between 1870 and 1915. Most of the ones that were made don't survive. When someone was having a house constructed for them, one way to save money was to have wooden doorknobs. They were mainly a substitute for porcelain knobs, and they're generally the same shape. And they're produced the same way as porcelain knobs, as I'll show you. One of the things about them, though, is during the 1890s and very early 20th century, as soon as people were able, they would buy other replacement knobs and throw away their wooden knobs. So not many of them survive intact in houses, but you do see them from time to time. Now I want to tell you real quickly about the three most common types of pressed wood knobs. The first is the ball-shaped pressed wood knob. It has this name because it's actually the knob itself is in the shape of a ball. This is a piece of metal right here. This is called the shank, and the shank attaches the two knobs to this piece called the spindle. The spindle has holes in it to make it adjustable for the varying widths of the door, and the shank has a little set screw that goes in that little hole right there, and it fits into the appropriate hole in the spindle. And each knob comes with the set screw is right there. The most common of these doorknobs is the drum-shaped pressed wood doorknob. And this knob was in general use throughout this time period, and it shows up in catalogs quite a bit. It's kind of flat on the top and bottom, and it usually has 3 scores on the sides. But other than that, all of these pressed wood doorknobs are assembled the same way, with the shank that attaches it to the spindle. And finally, the third type of pressed wood doorknob is what I call the disc-shaped. And I call it this because these knobs look just like a porcelain knob, but they're made out of wood. These are relatively rare. I've never actually seen one of these in a house. I have seen them in museums or places where people are selling architectural salvage. But all 3 of these types of knobs were being produced during that time frame of 1870 to 1915. And whenever you see one of those, that gives you some clue that maybe the house was built during those years, or that the house was renovated during those years. If it's a house from 1800, obviously, it was not built in. So, if you like this video, I hope that you'll let me know below and leave me a comment. And if you have any ideas or questions, definitely let me know, and I'll see if I can put together a video on that topic. Okay, thank you so much.